Welcome to the favorites presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. We are an Action Network podcast. I'm Brandon Kravitz. The crew is back on this fine Tuesday morning. Kendra Middleton and the Prime Minister Stuckey. On today's episode, we've got our Plant the Flag game for week 10, a breakdown of the top storylines, and of course, the main event, Evans Tuesday primer. You can't start a betting week without it. Kendra, on the Sunday night episode, I referenced the speed in which this country turns the page from Halloween to Christmas. It's quite admirable when you think about the expeditiousness that we as a society act. Like, you can't find a fucking pumpkin anywhere, and Halloween's been over for a day. Do you think it's admirable or obnoxious how quickly we switch gears from one holiday to the next?
It's obnoxious. I'm a Thanksgiving truther, as I'm sure most of the people on this podcast are, because we're food and football people. I hate Christmas. It's the worst holiday, in my opinion. I know that that's a hot take. Christmas is dumb. Let us Thanksgiving people have a second. You put your decorations up the day after Thanksgiving and you can keep them up until fucking Valentine's Day if you want, but leave us alone. Let me have my football. Let me enjoy fall for 5 more minutes until I, as someone who lives in Boston, wait for the impending doom of darkness and cold. Let me push it off for half an hour. Go away. Go away. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Go away. Go away.
So I mean, Christmas is really two separate holidays in the country and the world. There's the religious one, and then there's the commercial one. And
I hate them both.
I'm not a very religious person, but the commercial one I'm here for. I love it. I'm happy.
I am so bad at buying gifts. If I ever have to buy any of you a gift, I'm just gonna overnight you a live lobster, and I'm not joking. I send someone in my family a live lobster every single year. Nobody knows who's gonna get it. Somebody gets lobstered. It's what it is. If I ever have to send you guys a gift, just know it's going to be that. I'm the worst gift giver. It's too much pressure, and I love people, but that is not my thing. I can't. No. I think I've said that to you guys before.
Send Stuckey some crab cakes for me instead, because I still owe him.
Oh yeah, I gotta send you my address.
Well, I won my head to head against Stuckey the other day, so
yeah, we didn't bet anything.
I know.
Wasted opportunity, guys.
Yeah, I really don't care about the holidays. I love Thanksgiving, love Christmas, but I don't have time to worry. My holidays, as soon as
you don't put anything up for any of these.
No.
We have
between your college basketball and college football bets.
We have people that put up stuff, but I told you that there's people that come over and do my in-laws' house. Like, it's like people drive to see it. They were out there the other day, putting up the Christmas lights and all the I'm telling you, it takes like 3 days. They come over and put stuff up and in our house, but it's otherwise my mother-in-law would be like ridiculously upset if we didn't decorate. So she basically gets people to decorate for us. But no, once Thanksgiving changes, once after Halloween, it's my holiday is college basketball. Like, I'm trying to keep my head on straight every day, transitioning from 1 hour is NFL, the next hour is college football, the next hour is college basketball. Repeat that 6-7 times a day, every day. Try to find an hour nap and keep going.
Well, my dog gets a Christmas scarf. That's it. Those are my decorations.
I did have in my secret notes over here that I wanted a mental health check on Stuckey, because my God, this time of year for you, college football, college basketball just started. I was watching Arizona and Florida last night, but you're putting out content for all of this on top of what we do in the NFL. So this is just you good? Are you okay?
I've been doing this for forever. It's labor of love, but yeah, the hardest part is college basketball is so much harder now. Markets obviously get a little more efficient over time, but just the same thing happens in college football. Like, the prep for these sports used to be so much easier, but now with the roster turnovers and the transfer portal,
the NIL ruined everything.
More teams, keeping track and adjusting these teams, and then keeping track of injuries on top of that. Like, just keeping track of the NFL injuries is hard enough. Now doing that for college basketball and college football, yeah, there's not a second that goes by in the day where that's not all I'm thinking of in November and December. Literally not a second. So yeah, but I love it. It's just like the ultimate grind. And I just fully immerse myself in it. So Anyway, last night we hit our parlay again, back-to-back days. Cardinals
That's
get
so
there.
nuts.
McBride. I'm glad we convinced you on McBride.
I love it. And by the way, the first comment we get on Twitter is some clown going, "I never tell you guys." Okay, well, that has not been a profitable opinion over the last 2 days. We are 6-0 on our biggest bets that we've given out on this podcast. So
I had a
another
perfect
small
weekend this
victory lap.
weekend.
Nope.
Everybody can suck me dry.
No time for gloating. It's stay humble, keep grinding. But McBride, 21 games with Kyler Murray, 2 touchdowns. Last 3 games without him, 4 touchdowns. He obviously benefits from Brissett. The entire offense looks much better. Uh, I don't think we're gonna hot take. I don't think we see Kyler Murray again this year, unless Brissett gets hurt. And I was screaming from the mountaintops. The Cardinals are not bad. The Cardinals are a better team than the Cowboys.
Well, I was
And
gonna say, are the Cardinals better than the public thought, or are the Cowboys more ass than everybody thought? That was my
both,
big question.
both.
Yeah, I would vote both on that.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone is like, "Oh, the Cowboys are so scary at home." Like they didn't, they should have lost to Russell Wilson at home. They beat the Shell Commanders team. That's it. They blew them out. That like this defense is among the worst in the league, and the Cardinals defense, now that it's healthy, they were playing, it's one of the most well-schemed defenses in the league with their three high safety looks. Now you add, and they had a bunch of injuries, but now that they have Will Johnson, who looks incredible as a corner, Melton and Williams back at cornerback. Walter Nolan made his NFL debut, the first round draft pick, who I thought was kind of a steal. I thought he should have went in the top 10. He looked great. You add him to that front, and then on top of that, with Brissett in the mix, the entire offense looks so much better. There's actually a passing element, and Harrison looks so much better. McBride is more involved. So this is a team that I think is still undervalued. I mean, they lost 5 games in a row by 4 points or less, and they easily could have been 5-2 instead of 2-5. And yeah, it's a team that I'll be looking to continue to back, especially if it's Brissett that remains in there, which I think he will.
And we have that
Yes.
opportunity, Stuckey, because the Cardinals are plus 6.5 against the Seattle Seahawks over on DraftKings as it stands right now.
Yeah, one of
Are
seven
we
there.
are we gonna are we gonna take a bite of that apple, or do you
No,
just
We,
think
no
we
we'll
need
need
to
to talk
overreact?
rush.
about
I just
we
want
need
a
to
seven.
talk about something before we talk about that, because I think we need to start predicting who are going to be buyers and sellers today. And people might be listening to that after, but I think that this Cardinals team could probably be a seller. Think about how many teams right now are desperate for a tight end. Like, tight ends have become just such a luxury in this league, which I never thought that I would say when I was a kid. And now here we are. There are some of the most prominent pass catchers in a lot of these offenses. They do everything. They're underpaid. They're underappreciated. I think the Cardinals might be sellers. We need to think about that while we're previewing some of these games today, because I see that we're going to talk about Thursday Night Football too. I think the Raiders are going to be sellers. So before we get here, like, do you guys think that the Cardinals are going to be sellers, especially with this Jacoby Brissett, Kyler Murray situation? I am in the camp of yes.
No, I think I do not think so. I think they came out yesterday and said they're not going to.
They're only 2 games back on a wild card spot.
Yeah,
With
especially because they
Jacoby
won yesterday. They
Brissett.
they won yesterday. The only person they might trade is Kyler Murray, and I think they're better with Brissett.
I do too. Who's their
So
third string?
it's probably like who's he's dreadful.
I'm looking it up. It is Caden Slovis. So they can't trade
Aiden Slovis?
Kyler.
Yeah, they could. I mean, if
Yeah, dude,
Brissett
they
goes
can't
down,
do that.
they're done anyway. It depends on what they get. You can always sign
Imagine
another vet.
imagine saying that at the start of the season. If Brissett goes down, the Cardinals are done. I would have loved to have crystal balled that
The
take.
Cardinals are already done.
I don't think so. I think they're going to try to make a run. I mean, it's a team that can play with anyone. They went to Indianapolis and were right there to win. They almost beat Green Bay. They should have beat the 49ers. They just went into Dallas and destroyed them destroyed them from start to finish. Um, I think they can make a run at the wild card. So I I don't think that they're going to sell other than Kyler Murray. And I think the other thing is with this week's matchup against Seattle, um, which is a huge game for them. And they have some winnable game. Like you want to see, like, can they get the 9 wins? Like they have the Jags at home, the Niners at home after this, uh, Texans, Falcons, Bengals still on their schedule. So there's some winnable games. Uh, Now, if you look back historically, the Seahawks, while I'm 100%, I was so mad right after that game ended last night that some people came in and bought the Cardinals +7, and I had a notification up and I got it, and I couldn't get to the Cardinals in time. I'm Hopefully we see a 7 again this week, and then I'll be interested. The Seahawks have because I still think Arizona's defense is extremely underrated. Uh, and I mean, going into Dallas and shutting down that offense, I mean, that offense had 0 points till the fourth quarter. That's impressive. And now that their corners back, they have no one, like I mentioned. And then I think the offense is still undervalued because of Brissett. And just the perception of this team is way off from who they actually are. But they've really struggled with Seattle in the past, and most of that has been because, I mean, because you look back at that game in Arizona earlier this year, they were they did as good of a job on anyone against Seattle's offense, who's been, I mean, Sam Darnold has been the best quarterback in the league statistically. That game was 20-20 at the end, and then they botched the kickoff. Seahawks get a field goal. The biggest problem that Arizona has had against the Seahawks is Kyler Murray has been horrendous. The last 2 years in particular, McDonald has his number. They get so much pressure on him, and he can't do it. Brissett has been so much better under pressure. Their play action rates have gone up. So yeah, I think that this is probably the highest we're going to be on Seattle. Like I think that they could be a top 5 team. Like I have them. That's where I have them right now. But I think this is a perfect like buy low and still buy low on the Cardinals and sell high on the
I
Seahawks. But I
think they're the
really,
best
really
team
want
in
seven.
the I think they're the best team in the NFC. I really do.
You can make that case right now, the way they're playing on both sides. By the way, Kyler 2-9 straight up, 3-8 ATS in his career against the Seattle Seahawks. So
Yeah,
hopefully
more
we do
importantly,
see
his numbers
Brissett.
are awful, like horrendous.
Well, I want to stay on this trade deadline topic. That's at 4 o'clock today, Tuesday, if you're listening to this. It's part of our top 3 storylines heading into week 10, one of which I want to talk about Jaden Daniels and his injury and some of these teams at the top of anybody's power rankings taking L's. But let's play a quick game of nominate one team that you desperately want to see make a move today in either direction, either sellers, buyers. Kendra, is there a team for you that you want to see make a move today in either
I mean,
direction?
obviously, I want the Jaguars to go for Quinnen Williams and Jacoby Myers, but outside of them, I think I'd like to see the Colts be buyers, even though we're in the same division. I've come to grips with the fact that this is just not a Jags season, and I know that I'm supposed to hate everybody in the division and cheer against them, whatever. But they're just such a fun team. They're so easy to root for. A lot of good like storylines on the team. I'm just kind of like, for one season, F it, whatever. Let the Colts be good. If I have to go outside of the division, you guys know I'm gonna say the P words. I'm gonna go with the Panthers and the Patriots. I want to party. I want the Patriots to be good. As much as I hate them and they ruined my life in 2017, I'm making more money when the Patriots are good. I'm partying more when the Patriots are good. The city's a lot more fun. Whatever. Go Patriots, go Panthers, Jags, go get Quinnen Williams and Jacoby Myers, and I'll have a good day. I'll go buy a lottery ticket. I'm going to a nice dinner tonight. I'll wear some high heels. I'll make it sexy for you. Fucking do it. For the love of God, please go get Quinnen Williams.
All reasons to be in the camp of Kendra Middleton today. Stuckey, what about you?
I mean, my Ravens, like, so they traded Jair, free up some more cap room. Now they're fully healthy on offense, arguably the best offense in the league now, and especially as Lamar gets healthier and healthier. The defense still top 3 secondary. You got Roquan back healthy. The biggest glaring weakness on the team by a million miles is the defensive line because of the injuries and because of the loss of Matabuke. So I want to see EDC DaCosta go out and get. I mean, the dream would be. Um, I'm trying to think. Like the dream, even I mean that a realistic dream. Um, I don't know if they would sell him, but Dexter Lawrence. if they made a big splash trade for Dexter Lawrence.
You're not worried about the production that he's had this year, though, because a lot of people on like, the big mainstream stuff have been bitching at him, but I love Sexy Dexy.
Oh, he's still one of the best in the league. And then you get him into a like a winning culture and a winning team. I think you'll get a
I don't think the
rejuvenated
Giants will let him
Dexy.
go, though.
Depends on the price. Everyone has a price for anything. So like
Solid Ted DiBiase reference right there.
yeah, so like depends like the Giants need to build for the future. So like they think that they have Dart, they think they have their franchise quarterback. So, getting rid of some big contracts, getting some draft picks, and then building up that youth could be the direction that they take. Um, but the Giants are in a weird place. Like, now that they think they found their quarterback with Dart, does that mean Dable stays and sticks around? So I don't know how
What
the
would you
Giants
give
are.
them?
I have no idea. That's not my specialty. But like you could, I have no clue what like the right comp of draft picks would be. It wouldn't be players. It would just be draft picks and then
All of
taking.
that stuff is so contract dependent too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we don't even have to talk about who or what, but it's more so just like, I don't think you're going to deal a trade like that with the team dealing with so many injuries without giving them bodies.
Maybe, but the Giants' issues aren't on the defensive line. Like they have depth there.
No, I know, but but it doesn't
Yeah, I
even
mean,
have to
maybe
be.
they could throw someone in, not someone that's.
Yeah, I was going to say it doesn't have to be like on the defensive line. They just
Yeah, it
need
could be someone in the
offensive bodies.
secondary that's. There's options, but that's regardless. I just want to see the Ravens go get defensive line help because if they do, I think in 5 weeks. Because I think they're probably going to go 4-1 or 5-0 over the next 5 games. Um, most people are going to have them power rated number 1 in the league again. But they have to address the defensive line because they're still a little vulnerable against the run because of it, and they also can't generate pressure right now because of it. So it's hurting them on multiple fronts, and it's really like ultimately what would hold them back if they do end up making the playoffs. Because I mean, right now their defensive line with Washington, Matabuke, and I mean others on IR. They traded Olway. It's Travis Jones, John Jenkins, and Brent Urban as your starters. Like Peebles as your backup. Like that's not going to get it done up front. So that is what I'm watching by far. The Ravens need to get help there.
I have a fun one that I think is going to make most people that are listening throw up in their mouths because I think a lot of people are overseeing the Kansas City Chiefs win. But that team for years has needed a solid running back. Stop relying on old man Kareem Hunt or below average Isaiah Pacheco. There are two teams in the AFC East that should be sellers right now, the Jets and the Dolphins. And both of them have sub-elite running backs, Devon Achane, Brees Hall. I would love to see Kansas City make a move on a guy
I've been
like
saying
that.
Brees Hall was going to move all year. I've been saying this.
Yeah,
They got to do it. They've just been relying on these shitty running backs for years now. Give Mahomes some help.
And Ollie Gordon is
him.
good.
I'm curious to see yeah, like I'm curious to see what things I'm most curious about is Hendrickson going to move? I mean, if you're the Bengals, like
Well, they already made a move today.
I know they traded Logan Wilson, but he was already benched. But like only Jerry Jones could find the diamond in the rough, the benched linebacker on one of the worst defenses in the history of the league. So yeah, does Hendrickson get moved because he could provide a major boost for some team that really needs an edge rush and like just
Do you think
bring
the
in
Bengals are giving up?
Yeah, I mean, like they're deep. What is their like? Even with Hendrickson, they still have, like the worst defense in the league. Like it just they need picks, and although they can't draft, that's the
Well,
thing.
my whole thing is that like we saw what Joe Burrow did last year and kind of in a similar situation. He came out and was just an absolute gunslinger, almost, had them a like comeback story for the ages at the end of last year. And I think that they're probably hoping for that again.
I mean, but it's how much different going to look? Like they had Hendrickson last year, played at an All-Pro level. This year, I mean, Flacco just threw for 500 yards and they lost to the Bears at home. Like,
and they continue to have
they can't win
contract
anything.
disputes. I'm with you. Just
They can't win anything with this defense. But then again, like you have Burrow under contract and Chase and Higgins. Like the Bengals are just they're a horrendously run organization, and the main reason, I mean, their owner is terrible.
Oh my
But the
God, yeah.
main reason is they cannot draft. Go back and look. I mean, Burrow fell into their laps. They've had a couple offensive players just fall into their laps, but go look at their offensive line draft picks, their defensive draft picks. They've all been complete disasters. That's top-down organization down at the scouting, and it's all a dumpster fire. The teams that I think are going to sell that, and you want to be careful about betting these teams on this week in particular, early in the week. By the time you're listening to this, you'll have most of the news, but just keep this in mind in the future. But the Saints are probably up there. Um, you could see guys like Olave, Shaheed, um, maybe some defenders get moved. I would imagine the Dolphins are in like we already saw Phillips move, GM gone, interim GM like fire sale mode, just
You
because
think
that's what
Waddle will
they need to
go?
do. What's that?
You think Waddle will go?
For the right price? Sure. I think that they 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 trade anyone on the roster right now for the
including
right
Tua.
price.
I think that
Yeah, but
at
you're
the
not
end of
going to
the
get
year,
anyone for
Tua
Tua
has
because
no
someone's going to take
value.
that
no,
contract.
no. Hear me out. Hear me out. Obviously, you're not going to trade Tua and get something for him, but if you pair him with, I think they'd have to trade him with something like a second round pick just to have a team that feels like they can revive his career, take on the contract. I do think that's something that they will, maybe not now, but
I
at
don't
the
know
end of the
how you
season,
could
they may
ever.
explore.
Yeah, I just don't know how if you're any serious team. So I mean, there are some unserious teams. I mean, what is Tua has a he has a 4 year, $215 million contract. Um, and
Exactly. So you're going to have to pay somebody to take
That's
it.
but the
so
other thing is like
gross.
when you
Hey,
taking that on with his when you his career could end at any game, like with his concussion issues too. Like you got to keep that in mind. But yeah, I think the Dolphins are in complete fire sale mode. Curious to see what the Jets do, because they're definitely a candidate. Um, so, and then the Browns, obviously, Browns are in trade mode. So they have
I
some
hope
pieces.
Miles. I hope Miles Garrett goes. That'd be so good for him.
I don't think they'd ever trade him. He's like the face of the city. Um,
Kravitz, if it
but
makes you feel any better, the Jags did get rid of that Nick Foles contract, so maybe they can get rid of Tua's.
Hey, anything is possible. Like Stuckey said, it's all about the price. If you
the
pay somebody to do it, they
Titans,
might just take it.
Who do the
Is
when the
Titans
this
Titans
real?
have?
trade Jeffrey Simmons is like he is the if the Ravens got Jeffrey Simmons, oh man, I would you'd see me streaking down my street. You'd see me actually leave my house in November. Uh,
This is from the
Oh
production
my God,
crew.
Jacksonville Jaguars trading for Jacoby Myers.
Is that an opinion or is that news? I'm trying to
No, it's
find
news.
that
Adam
right now.
Schefter 2 minutes ago. Oh,
yeah, we're gonna start to get news in the next
my
couple
God.
hours. I think what is the deadline? Two Eastern or four
4
Eastern?
p.m.
Or
Eastern.
Um, Myers, that's a good get. Yeah, I didn't mention the Raiders.
A fourth
Um,
and a sixth.
the lucky Broncos. How many more breaks are they going to get? They get the Raiders after OT on a short week while they're selling their team off. Um, there's, what's an interesting one is do the Chargers try to like they're in this, and now with Joe Alt out for the year, like they cannot win the Super Bowl with the state of their offensive line. So do they just say like, we'll get our tackles back next year and really go after it, plug some of the holes we have? Or do they say, we're in this AFC race, let's go get tackle help?
I think with a
But
good offensive
you
line,
already have Alton Slater coming back, so it makes it tricky. Like they're
are they
probably just
coming
gonna have
back
to.
this? They're coming back this year. Alt was placed on the IR.
No, I
He's
think
not
they're
done
out
for.
for the year.
Okay. Well,
Um,
then they should probably make a move. They're as good as
but you
anybody
can't make
else if
too
they
big of
can
a move for
protect.
because tackles are expensive, and you already have two potential all pros, so you can't like go get a premium tackle, but maybe you can add a vet. Um, but yeah, Slater tore his patellar tendon, so he's out for the year. And I believe Joe Alt was just ruled out for the season. Let me say, yeah, he's going to have season-ending surgery, high ankle injury, which is so unfortunate. Like you see the difference between him in there and him out of there. By the way, something else to keep in mind just while it's on my mind. if you're looking at NFL lines this week, one of the trickiest games on the entire board is Lions, Commanders. You have Luvu suspended now. You have all the Washington defensive injuries. I don't know McLaurin's status. You're going to have Mariota starting. But the Lions they just placed their Mahogany on IR. They might be without Sewell and Decker. So I don't know who wins that matchup of the Washington, the biggest pillow fight of the weekend. The Washington backup defensive line versus the Lions backup offensive line. Because if they're without their tackles and one of their guards, like it's ugly. And the Lions offense, people aren't talking about this enough. The Lions offense since October 1st, 24th in success rate, 18th in EPA per play, 29th in rush success rate. You know who's number one over that span? Chicago Bears. So the only teams rushing it worse right now, and it's barely than the Lions since October 1st. And by the way, they played the Bengals over that stretch, so did the Bears. Are the Texans, the Browns, and the Saints, I believe. Or maybe the Raiders are up there, but it's been bad. The offense is not. What is that? It's the loss of Ben Johnson and the offensive line. We saw that against Minnesota. Talked about this last week, but the offensive line and Decker hasn't been healthy. The interior is worse, and now you have the backup to Mahogany is horrendous. But if you're without Sewell, one of the two best tackles, I don't know how that happens with that Washington game is. That's a crazy one. So that
Well,
just keep that in mind.
we happen to have a pick on that later on in the episode. We will get to that momentarily. Someone in on the chat here internally said Jacoby Myers, not Jerry Rice. So just keep that in mind. Kendra,
I mean, they
Kendra's
needed
still
that
Are you still processing this? This is a big move for your team.
Expatriate.
I'm honestly not sweating it at all. I get that he's on an expiring contract and giving up a fourth for him sounds insane, but they have 2 4th-round picks. It's going to be the higher of the 4th-round pick. They have so many 6th-round picks. It's actually disgusting. Like, what the hell are we going to do with all of them anyway? It sounds to me like this is probably a move because they're either going to trade BTJ or Hunter's out for the season. In Gladstones, we trust. Here we go. I'm glad they're doing something and they're not just sitting here and being passive. I'll take it. I don't care. F them picks. Let's do while we ride.
We're about to get to some picks ourselves, the sports betting variety. We're going to take a look at Thursday Night Football first between the Raiders and the Broncos. But first, a word from our very own Kendra as we chat about our great friends at DraftKings.
The Favorites podcast has teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, and 3 months of NBA League Pass. To get started, use promo code Favorites when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code Favorites when signing up and bet $5 to get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. The crown is yours.
Thursday Night Football, Raiders at Broncos. Broncos favored by 9.5 yesterday. Then it went to 8.5. Then they were back up to 9.5 this morning. Now it's back to 8.5. And we continue to play ping pong with this spread. Over under sitting at 42.5. Settled at 42.5. Denver is going to their throwbacks on Thursday. So factor that into the spread as you wish, because those are some pretty sweet threads.
That matters. It
that
matters.
They have. I'm look good, feel good, play good. I love these teams that have these killer throwbacks. They always seem to play up, as silly as it sounds, but the numbers actually back it up. They are 3-0 in this uniform combination since 2024. So there's something to that. Broncos 8 straight outright wins at home. The Raiders off of an overtime loss to the Jaguars. And on top of that, Las Vegas struggles to move the ball, 26th in yards per play. Well, Denver's defense is first in the league in yards per play allowed. So should be a terrible matchup for the Raiders. With all of that said, give me Las Vegas in a divisional game in prime time. I think we get a good solid effort here. I could go into more specifics, but I'll let you guys dig into this one. I mean, it's a market read as much as anything else. Every time this number gets up to 9.5, it gets bought back down. So if you can get the 9 or 9.5 on the Raiders, I feel like by the time we get to kickoff, there's going to be some good CLV on that number. Stuckey, how do you see it?
I wouldn't bet this right now. I mean, because you got to see, like, the Raiders are selling right now. So who knows who else they might move. Plus, you're kind of in a dead zone. Like getting above a nine, who cares? Now that I said it'll end nine, but um, and so the other thing that I'm really worried about is the Raiders were on the field. Their defense was on the field for 43 minutes. Only the Saints were on the field more, and they had a bottom 15 time of possession game in the history of the NFL. The Raiders were just right there because they went to overtime. They played every possible minute. Teams on a short week after overtime, playing on Thursday or Friday, are 6-25 against the spread. 6-25 all time. And they're failing to cover by about 6 points per game. I believe at 3-14 against the spread on the road. Brutal spot. Now you're going to altitude as well. Having said that, if I get a 10 here, like I don't know how much that's worth. Like I make it worth like a point and a half, which is substantial. Complete guess on my part. I don't really know what it's worth. But historically, you can look back and it's definitely worth something. And your defense is probably going to be a little gassed. But I mean, this Broncos offense is, I'm not laying it with Denver. I just would like to get a 10 here. I also would like to see who the Raiders, if they move anybody else. The Denver defense also isn't the same without Surtain. We saw that early against Houston before Stroud got hurt. So yeah, if I can get a 10, I'd be interested. If not, the
The 10
spot.
isn't, it doesn't look like the 10 is coming because every time this touches, I've been following this for the
If
last
they
2
trade
days.
Max
Every time
Crosby,
this
it'll come.
touches, this touches
You could
nine,
still have bigger, but you could still have bigger money come in later in the week, uh, and
if
the
Crosby
Raiders.
moves, then that would be
The
problematic.
Raiders could
I
also
was
move other guys, but the spot is really really bad for the Raiders. And like I said before, Bo Nix does look good when he plays, bottom tier defenses, and they did
I
blow
don't
out
know.
the
He looked
Raiders
like a
twice last
bonehead for
year.
3 quarters last week.
Yeah, but he's playing a good defense. If you look at Bo Nix's numbers against any competent defense, or especially an elite defense, he's among the worst quarterbacks in the league. Like I'm like bottom tier whenever he faces a really good defense. But against the worst defenses, if you look at all of his EPA this year, like all of his positives, it all came against the Bengals, the Cowboys, and the Raiders they're not as bad, but they're not too far behind. So yeah, I need a 10 here, and I want to see. I need more info on the Raiders. So
I
What about
Yeah,
you, Middleton?
I think the Raiders are definitely gonna make some serious moves. They've got to be sellers. Geno sucks. They're gonna need a quarterback. I don't think that they're gonna tank far enough to kind of beat out some of these other teams for earlier picks. I could see Max Crosby being on the move. My whole thing with this, it feels like I said, Bo Nix looked like a freaking idiot for 3 quarters last week. And then in the fourth quarter, it was like Bo Nix hour. My thing is the Broncos in this spot, yes, they're at home, but they feel like they're about due for a loss and a bad one. It's a divisional game. Divisional games are different. Anytime there's over a touchdown in a divisional game in any other spot outside of the trade deadline, if this were Thursday and this number was here, I'd probably be like, yeah, sure. If this team looks the same outside of Jacoby, yeah, Raiders. But the thing is that we don't know what it's going to look like. I don't want to bet on a team that I don't know what's going to look like 2 days from now, let alone a couple hours from now. But the Raiders look like they're due for a win. Broncos look like they're due for a loss. Hate that it's a divisional game, and I don't know what the Raiders are going to look like in a couple of days. So for me right now, it's a pass. If this were Thursday and everything was as is right now, I would probably get behind the Raiders. I just, until I have more information, can't because it looks like the Broncos are due for a loss.
yeah, but Brandon, I will say like you're watching the market, and like once it goes to 9.5, it's come back to 9, 8.5, drifting up. Some of that is like some bigger money will take that buy a cheap or a little expensive 10, so they don't want it to get there. But then also when you come down to 8.5, you're gonna have people teasing the Broncos, so it's probably gonna float.
This
But
did open at 10 to that point, and we have not seen that 10
yeah,
pop back up since.
but you're at 9.5 now, 9.5 or 9. There's no harm in waiting because this isn't going to go to 7. It's not going to go to 8, most likely. It's not going to go to 7.5. So I shouldn't say it's not. I don't think it is. Um, so like if you lock in 9.5, and then it goes to 10, you missed out on a secondary key number. If it never gets there, and say you have to bet 9 instead of 9.5, like the percentage of games that land on 9 in the NFL haven't
It's not so
haven't
much
probably
about
happened.
landing on 9. It's the it eight 8 at this point, especially with the prominence of the 2-point conversion, is becoming more key. I want to be on the Raiders, and if if the number settles on 8, I would have been pissed that I didn't get the 9 or the 9.5. That's where I'm at on this.
I think it's worth it more to wait in this situation, but I'm mainly giving higher commentary to more general commentary to anyone listening that's kind of new in the beginning. Like when you're around those key numbers, like I'll pull up a couple of games this week that I'm watching. Like, um, for example, Seattle, Arizona. Like I want to bet Arizona. Seven's obviously a key. I'm gonna sit and wait for as long as I possibly can. You can go to the Action app. You can put a notification on. You'll get a notification whenever it moves. Uh, and that way you don't have to sit in front of an odd screen and watch. Um, and what else here?
Great shout for the Action app.
That
Like,
was
but
shameless
keep in
plug
mind,
for
like
the
the
overlords.
teasers, like because that's why, like 8.5. Sometimes you'll see some books will move that up to prevent teasers. Like I'm sure a lot of people want to tease the Broncos down. Um, and then when it gets to, there's probably some sharper money, some numbers guys that want to bet that would love to have the Raiders at a reasonable 10. Um, so as a result, you're going to see some back and forth here, and then we'll see what the Raiders do. But yeah, you can get a cheap 8.5 on the Raiders at DraftKings right now. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just explaining uh, the thinking
And we got a nice little nugget
around here.
here in the back end of the chat. Last 5 years, 25 games have fallen on 9, 54 have fallen on 8, 62 have fallen on 10.
Yeah, 9, you're rarely, let's see.
Time to plant our flag for week 10, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Kendra, who will you be planting your flag on for week 10 as we look to stay hot this week on the favorites?
I gotta rock with the Lions. Probably my favorite game of the week. Already bet it. Bet it last night. If you follow us on Action, you definitely got that notification. The Commanders are a bad team. They've lost by a lot of points for a lot of weeks now. They lost to the Seahawks 38-14, obviously. Chiefs 28-7. The Cowboys 44-22. Jaden Daniels is probably gonna miss the rest of the season. I don't care what the X-rays said. There's no way in hell he comes back from that. Did you guys watch what happened to his arm, like in slow motion?
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
Like gross. The fact that I get that is it an MRI that they're going to do that's going to show all the structural damage, whatever. There's no way that X-ray is honest and truthful. No, I don't believe it. Oh my God, is my Wi-Fi going out again?
No, you are good.
Maybe. Okay, I was gonna
they
say you
said
just
that
paused, and I was wondering if I was having internet issues. But
we were
it's
just
got to be
locked
the
into what
Lions
you
for
were
me. It
saying.
feels like a good spot for the Lions. They need a good bounce back game. Commanders, a good easy team to beat up on, and they let up points.
Stuckey, what about you? Was your plant the flag game this week?
Yeah, I can't get there on the line. I mean, like the Lions, in order to lay 8.5, I'd have to make them like 11 points better than the Commanders. And the Lions might not have any offensive line. And like I just said, they've been a bottom 10 offense in the month since over between weeks 5 and 9 since October 1st. It is not working. And like everyone, I think the Lions are the most overrated team in the league right now. Um, like you look at last week, I don't know, they were -9 at home against the Vikings. I can say that because I bet the Vikings. Um, and they lost outright to JJ McCarthy. They never lose those games. Coming out of a bye at home with Jared Goff, who owned the Vikings, it's not the same. And now they might be without Sewell. They might be without Decker. They're already without Lagarde. I don't think the defense is any good. Like what result this year? Like they beat the Ravens, like that beat up Ravens defense. They had a really good game plan against Lamar, but other than that, like their best result is like they beat the all the backups on the Bucks. Like that's I think the Lions are extremely overrated. But like Washington's a mess. Like there's a lot of injuries on defense. I don't know if McLaurin's going to play. You're going to have Mariota, Luvu suspended too. Like so, I just can't get to that number.
I don't know. They beat your Ravens by 8.
Yeah, I mean they could cover, but I just can't get to that number. I'll say I'm going to plant my flag on the Packers -2.5 at home against the Eagles. I think we're getting under 3 because of last week. Fluky game and weather. The Packers didn't punt once. Jordan Love's still second EPA per play among all quarterbacks behind Darnold. They just got too conservative last week. Their special teams have been an issue. I think you see them get more aggressive here this week. I am not a believer in this Eagles team. Maybe they come out of the bye and look a lot better, but um, they beat basically the practice squad of the Giants. But before then, they should have lost at Minnesota. I think our luck rankings had that as a 7-point loss. The Vikings just couldn't score in the red zone. They got blown out against the Giants. They let Bo Nix come back and beat them. You know, they should have lost to the Rams. They should have lost to the Chiefs. They only beat the Cowboys at home. Like, this has not been impressive. This is a team that still leads the league in 3-and-out rate. I think the Packers are going to be able to get pressure. I still love this Green Bay offense. I think this Philly defense is way down this year. I still think the Packers are the best team in the NFC. I'm getting them under a field goal at home. You bet. I'm taking it. Packers -2.5 at DraftKings right now.
I think that's crazy.
Head-to-head bets. My plant the flag game is the Philadelphia Eagles plus the 2.5.
I gotta add to the Packers now. All right, we're gonna have a bet on this. I want some cheese. I want some cheese, and I'll send you. Yeah, let's bet for some cheese. I'll send you some really good cheese.
A wheel of cheese.
A wheel, yeah, okay. This one's for a wheel of cheese. I'm good with that. But you know
Cheese
what?
and
When I win,
is crazy.
when I win, I'm gonna melt my cheese on a Philadelphia cheese steak, and I'm gonna eat it right here on the podcast. I have this. So my power rating has this at Packers -1. That's not even accounting for the Tucker Kraft injury. The Packers offense kind of runs through him, and I'm not exactly sure what he's worth to the spread, but it's got to be at least half a point. So then that would bump it down to Packers at nearly a pick, and I'm getting +2.5 on Philadelphia off of a bye. I can't trust Jordan Love week to week. I never know what version of him is going to show up. Howie's out here making moves too. So if we're talking about bumping down the bad teams that are going to sell, can we bump up a team that we know is going to be aggressive as they already have? The Packers are the only team in the NFL this season also that have lost 2 games in which they were a touchdown favorite. 2 times.
Maybe bad teams just have the Packers.
Well, that's
Packers number.
That is definitely part of it. Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love cannot be trusted as big favorites, and that's not the case here. But the overall point that I wanted to make to punctuate that is that if we're going to make a statement, Stuckey, like we are overrating the Detroit Lions, we've got to say that about the Green Bay Packers at this point.
The Packers who blew out the Lions?
They are on the season total
The
body
Packers
of work.
have lost to the Browns and the Panthers.
They're overrated.
I disagree. So we'll find out on Monday. You're watching the market. This
Clock the T.
close
Clock
3.
it.
If it closes at 3, I'll bet the Eagles again.
Why would you bet the Eagles? Why would you bet the Eagles now +2.5? Like,
because I don't think the 3's coming back.
But again, you don't think that. You don't know. It's limits go up during the late
turn
week.
your action notifications on,
Like,
Kravitz.
There's no reason to bet +2.5 now, because if this goes to 3, it's about the biggest key number in all of NFL. Like, you're giving up so much equity. If it starts to tick down to 2, I mean, who cares?
If this goes back to 3, I'll buy you the cheese before I even lose the bet. This one's not touching 3.
But who cares if it does or doesn't? You might as well wait. It's my point. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
Like,
2 is still key also.
It's nowhere close to 3. Like, it's not even in the same stratosphere. 3
I love
is
when my
king,
parents fight in front of me.
King.
Hold
3
on.
is king. If anyone listening out there, just know 3 is king in the NFL. If you want a dog that's at 2.5, wait to see if there's ever a 3 that pops. But
3 is about 15% of the time. 2 is roughly 4.5. So to that point,
about 4 times more important.
And lately, it's good that has shrunk. We're getting ahead of the market here. All right, let's go. Our plant the flag games. The Lions -8.5 for Kendra. We've got a head-to-head bet. The Packers -2.5 for Stuckey. Eagles +2.5 for me. And now, time for the main event. No betting week can start without it. It's the primer courtesy of Evan Abrams. Evan, welcome to the show. Where do you land on the dog fight that is Eagles Packers?
Uh, so I had the Packers to win the Super Bowl in the preseason. I feel like I felt good with that pick up to the Panthers game, and I probably would have felt good after the Panthers game if it wasn't for the Kraft injury. I feel like that makes them a lot less versatile. So I think in this game specifically, I will do exactly what Stuckey says and wait on the sidelines because if three comes, I think Philly's the side. I don't think I could see myself betting Green Bay after that injury and having to adjust the offense so much, but it's going to be a great game. I mean, that plus Tampa Bay and New England, this is like the best duo of games we've had in a long time in the same week.
Yeah, and I'm excited that I'm this invested in a Monday night football game. It feels like it's been a while. Nice to get that standalone to end the week. What are the trends that we need to be aware of before we go firing away on the apps?
Just a few fun things off the bat here. So Arizona last night obviously takes care of Dallas. NFC West 18-7 now against the spread versus teams outside of the NFC West this year. That's the best mark through 9 weeks for any division since 2020. So all four teams in the NFC West above 500 this year. Seattle and the Rams at the top of the NFL in ATS at the moment. So some fun stuff going on out west there. Only division as well where all four teams are above 500 ATS. Other than that, to me, the Lions stuff that Kendra was talking about, like you're going to hear it everywhere, but won and covered 12 straight games after a loss since November 1st of 2022. That was the last time we saw them lose after a loss. You're going to hear it everywhere this week. That is the longest streak, and I'm going through right now, I can find in a long time for any team after a loss. So everyone thinks it's automatic. The line kind of shows it, but that is a streak you will hear a lot of.
Yeah, just like last week.
Go.
What were that last week? They were 8-0 against the spread in their last 8 against the Vikings.
Correct.
They were like 10-1 against the spread after a bye. This ain't the same Lions team, I'm telling you.
Correct. Yeah. And that's what everyone is going to make the assumption of. Also, Action Network percentages right now, early week, 78% of tickets on Detroit, 98% of the money. Like everybody is going to just make the assumption on Detroit this week. So we will see there. The other one, if you're just going to look at the board, Carolina -5.5, pretty funny. It's their biggest game favorite since 2021. They've lost 10 straight as a favorite as well. So we will see how that goes for them against the lonely Saints.
And Saints might be traders, like sellers, as we said. So
correct.
They could be.
That might go lot. That might go higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I am betting against here is I do think there's going to be some market sentiment on, okay, the Packers lost as big underdogs. This is a bounce back opportunity. I would think, let me be very clear about transparent. I think the Eagles are going to have a higher percentage of the bets this week, but I do think there's going to be a line of thinking for Packers backers that because they were such a big favorite last week and they lost, that this is a buying opportunity on them. They are the largest favorites to lose outright since the Titans beat the Dolphins as 14.5-point underdogs. I think that game was in prime time too. Week 14 of the 2023 season. Any recollection? Now, this is a very limited sample, but any recollection as to what the Dolphins did the following week after they were 2 touchdown favorites and lost the game outright?
It was funny. I thought you actually asked me this question kind of facetiously because they won 30-0 against the Jets the next week, which obviously says great things about what the situation was. But I also have to mention it was the Jets. But if you look at our database, teams lose by 12 as a 12.5 plus point favorite, 19-12-2 ATS in the next game. Super small sample size and a lot of noise there. But I do probably think there is like a motivational come back to the mean, plus the line probably drops on the close for the team that we thought was really good. So I think there's a few factors buying in there, but it's tight.
That's basically my reason. I think and teams are going to lose fluky games. I mean, what did they outgain them by 120? They didn't punt one time in the game.
Yeah.
They missed field goals. Like there was weather. And I look back remember the Chiefs lost to the Raiders at home. Last year the Ravens lost to the Raiders at home and then won like 10 of 11. And everyone was like panicking. The Ravens are 0-2. They lost to Gardner Minshew and the Raiders in Baltimore. And I think they covered like 6 in a row after that. I think that's what's driving this. I think this line should be 3. I think it would have been 3 if the Packers won, and now we're getting 2.5. So that's basically the main reason for my bet. But we also have Lamar first half trend and Lamar versus NFC. I'll be looking at Ravens first half this week under a field goal.
Anything post trade deadline trends wise that we should be aware of? Is there anything? Do you have anything on that, Evan, before we wrap?
Yeah, so the only thing that I find interesting, and I kind of dug into this a little bit, is the closing lines in the trade deadline weeks. So I'll have something about that in my article, but I wanted to dig a little bit further because you have to the trade deadline hasn't been the same every year. So I'm looking into it a little bit. So check out the primer for that. But I do think it tends to be an outlier week. In the sense that teams get worse and teams get better, but mostly it's the teams get worse angle because sometimes the players don't play right away for the teams they go to. But like a team like the Raiders could be extremely decimated and the line could rise a few points, which actually would probably give some value to Vegas in that spot. So
yeah, that's what this is very hard to parse through because this is something I wanted to look at. So I don't know how you'll end up doing it because you don't want going back to every year and then saying like, here's the teams that traded someone key and here's the ones that got someone.
I was
who's
stuck.
key,
I was
who's
going to
not.
versus injuries, which would take so long. I was just going to look at line movement in the trade deadline weeks.
That's what I was going to suggest
and
look
see
at
if that was going to. Yeah,
I would filter like the worst teams, so like win percentage really low, line moves against them by a certain amount. Did it move too much, right? So like, is there?
Yeah.
This would be my hypothesis. And then on the flip side, some of the best teams who added someone that first week, is the market overreacting, which it certainly could. I would tend to think over time, even if it's just slightly, the market probably overreacts in general, in totality, for like teams.
The funny thing is, the line might overreact for a player that may not even end up playing that week anyway. Like just with the team making a trade for a player, the line going up, and maybe that player, just
and then on the flip side, the narrative of like, oh, this team's quit, they're selling, and then people just betting against them, and then it goes a little too far. So interesting. Yeah, make sure you check out Evan's Primer. We'll have something on that
for sure.
The Action Network app.
And fade the narratives. The favorites is a wrap for today. Special thanks to our producers, David Payne and Gifford Gould. We'll be back at it on Thursday on the Action Network YouTube page where we talk Week 10 best bets and our 2 kings and a queen parlay. We'll see if we can go back-to-back this week. We'll see you next time here on the favorites presented by DraftKings. We're out.
Go Pack, go.